Hi, I'm Katrina Smith with the Reno Gazette-Journal. I'm down here at the Register of Voters office with County Spokesperson Mimi Strickler. We're discussing some things as Election Day goes on, partially due to the blog that we have on rgj.com and partially with some things that are going on out there at the polls. So we were discussing earlier today that everything was smooth sailing. What's the update now? How are things looking out there?
Things are going great. We still have a steady stream of voters coming into the polling places. Occasionally people have one or two deep, but we don't have 10 or 12 deep, and they're just steady and filing right through, and the voters seem to be very happy and content with the process, and nobody's had to wait in too many long lines, and they're just filing them right through.
Okay. We've heard some reports that at every location there seems to be a couple of machines that may be down. Do you have any sort of percentage as to what that looks like overall?
I would say that it's probably like 1%. There might be one machine out of 15. For some reason, it might be down. There could be a paper jam when you have the voter verified record on the side. Sometimes those have a tendency to get clogged up. But other than that, we have like less than 1% of the machines that are down. If there was going to be a problem with the voting cartridge or any of the memory cartridges, they would have noticed that immediately when they turned on the machines, and they would have pulled that machine out of service. But we haven't heard many of those at all.
Okay. Speaking about some of the voting issues, there was an article on Salon.com today from, I believe she's a Washoe County school, or a teacher here in Washoe County. She happened to notice some unattended voting machines in her school. Could you tell me a little bit about some of the regulations that you have for voting machines and why people may see some of these unattended, if they are unattended, or what the process may be?
Sure, I'd love to tell you about that. At the point in time that person might have taken the picture, I mean, within the picture we can't even verify like what location that is. It's very possible that the crew that delivers the machines had just unloaded them off the truck, and the polling place manager was getting ready to move them into the secured location of where the machines sit overnight. When those machines are unloaded, the polling place manager then takes them from that spot, sets them up, and they are in a secured locked area overnight. Also, the machines have 12 security tabs on them that have serial numbers, that if one of those tabs, when they open the machine, is broken in any way, then that machine is pulled out of service immediately. And then again in the morning, the polling place manager goes through, verifies that all those tabs and serial numbers match up, are not broken, and then can use that machine. So there's many, many precautions that we take to ensure that those voting machines are secure and safe for voting the next morning.
Okay. Can we speak a little bit about first-time voters?
Sure.
We've noticed on the blog that throughout the day that there have been some concerns about not showing their ID when they go to vote. Why is this?
When a person comes to register to vote in Washoe County, whether they do it at the Department of Motor Vehicles or they do it here at the Register of Voters office, they are required to show a photo ID, usually a driver's license, when they register to vote. They put that information in and note that they had showed their ID, photo ID, and then they have them sign, so that in the event when they go to their polling place that day, that their identification has already been verified, and so when they sign in, they do verify the two signatures. If for some reason at the Department of Motor Vehicles or say here at the Register of Voters office that they didn't have their identification on them that day, then that particular voter is flagged, and then they ask them to show their ID at the time that they registered to vote. Otherwise, it's already been verified at the original time that they registered to vote.
This is about provisional ballots. When or why would you receive a provisional ballot?
Well, there's 4 different scenarios of why somebody would have to vote provisionally. First is if you're not registered. If you go into a polling place and you'd say, let's say you just moved here from somewhere, or you just didn't happen to register and you'd say, I'd like to vote, you can vote a actual paper provisional ballot. They will do that. The polling place manager will give you the ballot. You sit within the polling place at an isolated location, you fill out your ballot, and then you hand it in to the polling place manager. The second one is if you were a canceled voter. So for some reason, if you didn't respond to the Register of Voters office, or you used to vote and you didn't vote in a general election, and you kind of didn't re-register and you kind of let that fall off, if you're a canceled voter and you come in and say, I want to vote, then you'd have to vote provisionally. The third thing is if there's ID required, and for some reason that they can't verify your ID at the time, or if the numbers on your ID card don't match the numbers that they have, and they can't seem to get it fixed and you don't have time to go to the registered voters office, you can vote provisionally to cast your ballot. And the last one is if you're in the wrong polling place. Sometimes voters drive clear across town. They say, I'm here to vote, and they say, well, I'm sorry, you need to go back across town to your correct polling place, and they don't want to. Then they can cast a provisional ballot.
In what circumstance, then, would somebody need to vote with a paper ballot?
The paper ballot, it would be, of course, the provisional ballots. It would be a mail-in ballot for some of the mail-in precincts, and then if you had asked for an absentee ballot. So those are the three times that you would actually get a paper ballot to vote. Otherwise, you'd be voting electronically.
Okay. Are there any things that, as far as people running around needing to go to polling locations to help out in any way going on out there, like power strips, or is there any light things that you can think of?
Oh, that we took care of that this morning. Sometimes they do need help if they can't get the paper ballot that goes. Sometimes those are a little bit tricky on the machines to get those to print correctly. Sometimes they do need a power strip, or a lot of times they need the I voted stickers. That seems to be a very popular item, and they run out of those, and they seem to want those. But for the most part, they're doing very well out there. They do have a lot of help here at the Registered Voters Office for not only the polling place managers, but also for our citizens who have questions about voting, and it's going very smoothly, and I think overall people are very happy with the voting process.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mimi. Keep tuned to our rgj.com blog and add any thoughts, concerns, or anything that you're seeing out there on Election Day.